Okay, so I have been sitting on something for 17 months, and today is the day I stopped sitting on it. For most of my life, I've carried this strong fear that I never really had the guts to talk about loudly. And not because I don't want what's on the other side of that fear, but because fear told me a lot of stories about it. And to be honest, I believed it. I believed the story fear told me about pregnancy. I believed it to break me. I believed the narrative that left me shaken. And then boom, one day, the very thing I've been scared of happened to me. But what I found on the other side of it was completely different. Somewhere in this story, you're going to see yourself. Maybe in the fear, maybe in the quiet panic no one knows you carry. So stay with me, because this is not just about pregnancy. This is about the stories fear tell women before life even begins. So, let's go. I grew up afraid of pregnancy. Not a little nervous, I mean genuine fear. Before I even had the opportunity to think about it or even care about it. I remember my mom used to warn me about pregnancy and tell me, "You follow boys, you will get pregnant. The boy's life will move on. But you see your life has ended." And she used to say this a lot to me because I used to have a lot of male friends and all of that. And she always said scary things about it. Now, this is not me blaming my mom. This is not me saying she did wrong. That was literally a mother who cared so much for her female child and didn't want her to, thread the wrong path or do the wrong things. And she had to protect her. I didn't just hear them. It stuck with me that everywhere I went, as I grew older, it was a fear that I genuinely carried with me. And then moving on from that, in my late teens and early 20s, a family member got pregnant and had the baby. And I asked her, "Oh, how was your experience? What was it like?" She had horrible stories to tell me. Now, she didn't just tell me, she showed me. I saw things that I cannot really talk about here, but it was really terrifying. But I'll tell you this, after that conversation with that family member, I swore that I was never going to get pregnant. Not me, never. And to me, I did not think I could survive that amount of pain and all that she showed me and told me she went through. It did not stop there. And then society started to add to it. The wave of social media began its own. You hear things like 9 months of mystery, fearful story here, scary story there. It just kept on adding fuel to the fear I already carried. I am that girl who could not stand to watch a birth vlog. Put up a scene about pregnancy or childbirth in a movie, I cover my face with a pillow because I just cannot stand to watch it. That's how bad it was. And every month when I saw my period, that is a pain of victory because I'm not pregnant. I discovered something. Not when I was a teenager, not in my 20s, not when I got married, when I was writing this book. I discovered that the fear that I was carrying, it had a clinical name to it. It's called primary tokophobia. It is a clinical term used to describe the fear of pregnancy and childbirth in a woman that often develops in early adolescence and grows with her into adulthood before she even gets the chance to be pregnant or even experience pregnancy herself. This fear develops from the things she sees and the stories that she absorbs, and the fear grows with her as she grows. Every single word in that definition was me. While I was writing this book, I realized what God had really walked me through. It was not just a casual thing that I felt like I adopted, weirdly. It is a thing that practically tons of women out there could be dealing with. Here I am, a newlywed. I had a plan and I negotiated with God that, God, I know I really desire to be a mother someday, but please God, give me 2 years after we get married to enjoy my husband, and after that, give me twins so that I can do this pregnancy thing once and for all. I don't want to go ahead and get pregnant 2 times like God afar. Just once, and let me just get it out of the way. got married February of 2024. Come April 27th, 2024, I picked up my leftover test kit, picked up the car keys, and I drove off. I didn't know where I was going to. I took the test before I left the house and I just held it with me. I didn't check it. And then I summoned the courage and stopped halfway on the road. I just stopped somewhere randomly and I picked up the test and I checked. And there it was, 2 lines. God was like, girl, joke's on you. I am the master planner. You are the follower, so you follow my lead. And I'm like, you say what? In that moment, I wailed. I cried so much. I can remember rubbing my tummy and crying. I'm like, God, am I ready for this? God, really? Right now? Are you sure about this? Can I do this? Am I capable? Really, God? What is it gonna be like? Oh my God, oh my God. My baby, my baby. Oh my God. The fears I've carried for so long, it's time to face it. It's time to experience it. I summoned the courage and I just found a special way to announce it to my husband and was so excited. I was looking at him like, I'm scared. And this fear is something that I already communicated to my husband before we even got married. I told him I'm terrified about anything that has to do with childbirth, but I know I want to be a mom someday, and I feel like I'm just gonna do it anyway. When the time comes, it's gonna be a dreadful experience for me and all of that. And he reassured me, and he even told me a vision he saw of me at different stages of my life, and that God has showed him. And I was like, I believe every other thing you tell me, all the other visions you've shared with me, I believe you. But you see this one about pregnancy, he said I was going to look really beautiful. And told me a lot of beautiful things. And I was like, it's because you're a man, that's why you're talking about this. Pregnancy is not a joke. Are you telling me that I will look beautiful, I'll look this, I will carry that, I beg? What they say, that God knows the end from the beginning? Indeed, He knows. And that's one of the things I want to thank God for publicly right here at this point, that He aligned my path with an amazing man, a God man, a man that regardless of who I am and what I do, he opposed the requirement and the commandment of God as to how He should love me, care for me, and just be a cover over me. I was telling my husband the other day that he's the earthly father I never had. And I'm sure he felt like I was flattering him, but indeed, that's my reality. Back to topic. So this very thing that I've been so afraid of is right here before me. What do I do about it? Like, how do I navigate it from here? I had a choice in that moment to either walk into this journey with all the narratives that fear had told me all these years, or I could decide right there to experience this pregnancy differently, far away from everything I've heard and all the fears I've carried for decades. And to be honest, I didn't know what differently would look like at that point. I just knew that I did not want to spend 9 months governed by everything I have heard. I wanted to walk that journey in a different way. It led me to go back to what I know. I prayed the most honest prayer I've ever prayed in my entire life. Help me to rewire my mind. Help me to experience this. Help me to walk this journey differently from what I know or what I believe I know, and differently from what I've heard. I submitted myself at His feet. I dropped my fears and I let Him in. What followed over the next 9 months? I could sit down and spend hours telling you about it. And actually I did. I wrote a whole book about it. But I want to give you a glimpse of what I mean by I carried differently. There was a daily practice God gave me that changed the entire atmosphere of my pregnancy journey. There were women He placed in my life at the exact time that I needed them, at the exact moment that it was required. There were scriptures I had never come across in my entire life that became the difference between peace and fear on the same day. After I came out of the fear and God had begun the work in me, there was a medical diagnosis at 11 weeks that would have derailed the entire journey and process of my pregnancy experience. There was a scripture God gave me the same morning the pain began. God had woken me up with a scripture that became my mantle. There was even a trimester that stretched me beyond, in ways I never could have imagined I could have been stretched. And there was grace that met me in every single stage, at every phase of that journey. I'm really itching to tell you all the details right now, but you see, the detail is what the book is for. But I'll tell you something right now. I entered this journey of pregnancy as a woman with a clinical phobia. I came out on the other side of it saying I would do this over again, and I meant every word of it. There's so much to say. It is important I stop here because I know not everyone watching me right now had a similar experience that I'm describing. Some of you went through pregnancy and it was genuinely hard. Your body was in real pain. I say this from the depth of my heart. This testimony is not a comparison. I'm not sitting here to say, oh, you did not have enough faith, or you did not pray enough, or you did not do all the right things. Or what I'm saying is that the same God who carried me through in peace was in it with you through your pain. It was with you when it was hard. It was with you when it got complicated. Our journeys might look different, but neither of us was alone in it. And this book was written for you too. It is also a testimony to encourage other women who might be drowning in fear, to give them a sense of revelation, to give them a different narrative, to give them a sweet story to lean on and to tap strength from. This book is simply a testimony to encourage and to pour some light out there in a world that thrives on negativity.
We were sparks on quiet streets, two hearts finding where to meet, but life pulled us apart. Late night chat, both of us knowing what a life at. Funny how we talk like we're fine, but your name still lives in my...
December 2024, she arrived, and the woman who had been afraid of this for decades held her daughter for the first time and felt something she had no words for, something that went past joy, something that felt like the end of every long conversation with God that she had not even known she was having. Oh, my daughter, she does not know yet what her mother was afraid of. She does not know it yet that while I was growing her in my tummy, God was growing me too. She does not know any of it yet, but I wrote it all down. For her, for me, and for the woman who is sitting somewhere right now, carrying a fear she has never been able to explain to anyone who has not felt it too. I have watched my husband cover us, show up, and also just practically be the man that I saw in my vision when I said yes to being his wife. With little or no help at all, but God has been present with us.
I took a
plant. I think perfect size. I want you to. It's so beautiful. Call my husband. Yeah. It came out so well.
It's just gonna be the beginning for you. Those who read it will be taught by him himself. Right?
I was 3 months postpartum when I started to write this book. You Can Carry Differently, a testimony of peace, faith, and grace through pregnancy. The journey of this book started when I was 3 months postpartum and my husband had just traveled for the very first time. God bless us, we did this all by ourselves, taking care of this newborn baby, and it's just been a beautiful bubble that we wear. So it was his first time traveling for work, and we were on the phone, we were just gisting, and we touched on my pregnancy journey. And then I was just telling him that, baby, you even believe that everything I heard about pregnancy and all the fears I've carried about pregnancy all these years, and my experience turned out to be different. Like, I didn't experience all those things that I've seen. Like, I didn't experience all of that. All I've heard about pregnancy did not happen to me. And my husband said something. He was like, do you know that can make a good book and it will impact other women out there? And I was like, huh? He was like, yeah, that is a very beautiful testimony that you should write about and just give it as a gift to other women out there who would probably be in your shoes right now in their life. I need to give them a different narrative. And I was like, huh? A book? Just, I showed it off. After that phone call, the seed was planted in my heart and the Holy Spirit wouldn't let me be until I picked up my laptop at the peak. I was still at the peak of postpartum at this point, and I started to write. I wrote this book for the woman who is afraid, for the woman who is pregnant right now and is overwhelmed, for the woman who does not feel ready, for the woman who just got married and feels like pregnancy is not the next thing for me right now, and boom, she finds out that she's pregnant. For the woman who has heard too many scary stories and not enough testimonies. Trauma is not a requirement, and fear is not a rite of passage. Pain is not a proof of purpose. This book is proof that God writes different stories for willing hearts. This book is not a guide. This book is not a how-to. This book is not a perfect woman, perfect story kind of book. It is 8 chapters of what actually happened and how the hand of God moved through each phase of this journey. The fear I named, the phobia I never knew I had, the daily practice that changed everything, and a birth that had no trauma in it. And also the first year of motherhood that I'm still learning from. Everything I did not tell you today is in that book, and I kept it in there on purpose because some things need to be held and not watched. Held in your hands at your own pace and in your own quiet. It is called You Can Carry Differently. And if anything I said here today, it felt like it found you where you are currently, or it felt like you were saying the things you're so afraid to say out loud, yes, this book is for you. And I hope that it meets you exactly where you are as you pick it up and as you read it. It is waiting for you right now. All you have to do is click the link in the description box or the link in my bio to grab yours. This testimony does not end with me or in that book. Yours is next. God bless you. The Lord.
He.
Uh-huh.
My.
Uh-huh.
Sheba.
Good job. I shall not.
Right.
Good job. Psalm
80.
23. Verse
Me.
1. Shepherd.